In this tutorial, we're going to continue on with the Webflow to WordPress theme. And in the first video, we took the Webflow export and converted it to a WordPress theme with basic stuff involved. So in this video, we're going to work on the menus of the WordPress theme. All right, so we're going to be creating some menus on the WordPress theme. So let's just jump right in and get started. So we're here on the ideapro.io site that we do testing and videos with, and we have our theme chosen that we started out from the Webflow export. And this menu up here is hard-coded HTML. So we're going to change these links here to where it's a menu that we can modify from within the WordPress admin. All right, so if we go over to our code here, we see that we have two links here, and this is the home and contact. Now in the first video, we put in this site URL that brings in the URL of the site so that we can go back to the home, and then site URL and contact. Now, it's not a great idea to go in and create a new link like this and say about us, and then link to about and save, and then come over here and refresh. So now we have about us, which isn't a page that exists. I see it says page not found. But from the WordPress admin is where we want to make these changes so that we're not doing it on the hard code side. So what we're going to do is we're going to comment out these three links, and these hyphens, open caret, exclamation mark, and two hyphens, and then after the where you want to stop, two hyphens and the close caret, comments out in HTML. Okay, so now if we save this and we go back in and we refresh this page, now we don't have a menu at all. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to add a WordPress menu here. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to open up some PHP brackets, and we're going to say WP nav menu. All right. And so I want to create just a basic simple menu. So I'm going to, in here, I'm going to say array, because this takes an array of arguments that you can change, like the before the link, after the link, before the text, after the text, the container that wraps around it, and stuff like that. You can do a lot of stuff in this array, but the only thing that we're going to work on right now is we're going to say theme location, and we're going to call this main menu. All right, so if we do that, save it, and come back over here and refresh, it's going to give us all the pages that exist on the site, because we haven't told WordPress what the main menu is, and we haven't created that menu on the back side of WordPress. So it's going to automatically bring in all of these pages. So what we need to do now is we need to open the functions.php. Here we go. So we have this functions.php. This is our themes function.php. So in the themes function PHP, we're going to need to write a function, and we're going to call this YT for YouTube example menus. Okay. All right. So we're going to open that function brackets there, and then inside of here, we're going to say register nav menus. Okay. Now, inside of this, register nav menus is where we're going to list all the menus in the site that we want to use. So the first one that we did is we said main menu. Actually, we have to wrap this in an array. Sorry about that. So we're going to say array, and then we're going to take this and bring it down here. That is there we go. So now we have an array inside of this function here. All right, nav menu, and then we're going to say what we want to call it, and this argument is going to be what shows up in the admin side when we're selecting what menu it's going to be. So we're going to say YouTube example main menu. I know that's longer than what we would usually, but I want you to see that it shows up how it shows up on there. All right. So we're going to save that. We're going to come over here. We do need to add an add action. And this add action is a init. And then our callback, which is the YT example menus here. So we're going to paste that in there. So now that we've done that, this functions.php file, we're not calling that functions.php file into any of the PHP files. Like typically if you're just doing basic PHP and not using WordPress, you would need to, come up here somewhere, maybe even the first of it, and you would have to say, require once and then functions.php. But because we're using WordPress automatically looks for this functions.php in the theme and brings it in, so we don't need to do that. So if we come back over and go into the dashboard here, if we look at appearance, we have no menus in appearance. And that's because we haven't refreshed the page. Now, if we refresh the page and go to appearance, now we have a menu link here. And it's because our functions.php file now tells that there's menus involved with this theme. So if we go into menus, and here we can create a new menu, create your first menu below. Oh, I haven't done this in a long time. All right, so this is going to be our main menu for theme, whatever we want to call it. Okay, and we're going to create a menu. And so now that we've created this menu, now we have our locations down here, and it says automatically add new top level pages to this menu. We're not going to do that. We're going to choose YouTube example main menu. Now, as I said before, over here on our functions.php, that's what we've labeled this as. Now, this right here where it says main menu, this goes back over to our header theme location main menu here. So we actually need underscore there. There we go. So this theme location says in the functions.php file, here's the main menu as the key or the name of that menu. So I'm going to save that. I'm going to save that. And now if we come over here and we come back and refresh the page, we've saved this menu, but it's already added all these in there. So we want to remove the sample page. We want to remove the privacy policy. We're going to remove this account page. And now we just have contact. So if we hit save menu, we're going to come over here and now we have just contact in this menu. So that is the way that we connect a menu to a certain area of the page. Now, if we look at this, this doesn't look the same as what it did before. And the reason why is because if we inspect this and we bring this up, we zoom in, we see that here in the inspector, we have this nav role navigation that was included in the theme. Then we have a div here, then we have a UL and a LI, and then we have the link. So what happened is by default, WordPress automatically puts a container class, which is this div. It automatically puts that in there. It automatically puts in a UL. It automatically puts in an LI, or list item, unordered list and a list item for every individual link in that menu. But if we look at the design here, it's nav role navigation, and then it's just hrefs. So it's just the hrefs and nothing wrapped around it. Now, typically I build menus more like WordPress does if I'm doing straight HTML, where it's a unordered list and then a list, and then the href is inside of that list item. But because WordPress is used so widely, it's wrapped in a div and UL and LI. Now, you can go into that array that we talked about over here on the this array here in the WP nav menu, and you can tell it to not include the container. So if we do that and we say we're going to do container equals false. And if we save that and we come back over here and we refresh, now what we've gotten rid of is we've gotten rid of the div that wraps around that container. So now you've got nav role, and then we've got a UL, but we got rid of that div container. So WordPress doesn't give you the option to get rid of this UL or LI. So we're going to do our menu a little bit different on this. What we're going to do is we're going to comment this out. So that gets rid of our menu on this page. All right, we're going to close that. So now we have gotten rid of that menu. Now we're going to call in our menu by a different function. And the reason why we're going to do this is because this will give us the ability to just use the hrefs like is designed in this theme or this design from Webflow. And this isn't the preferred way to do it. I would prefer to have it in a unordered list and then the list items and stuff like that. But because Webflow did this, I'm going to show you guys how you can bring those links out and put them in there. So here we're going to create a variable called menu, and we're going to do wp get nav menu items. Okay. And that is a function. And then inside of this first argument here is we're going to go and get our menu. So we've created this menu here, and up here we've got an ID menu is equal to 2. So this is the ID is 2. So we're going to come back over here and we're going to put a 2 in there. All right. So now I'm going to print out the array of menu. I want to show you what it looks like whenever we grab the menu here. Okay, we come back over here to our page and we refresh. Now we've got this array, and if you're not familiar with what I'm doing here in the code, I use pre-tags, and I say pre-formatted just to see, so I have something to see where it starts, and then print underscore R prints out an array. So if we didn't do that, if we just tried to print this array, let's do this. If we just said print and then we said menu and we come back over here and we refresh, it's just going to say array up here because it doesn't know how to print that menu. Okay, so if we do a underscore R and then put menu inside of there and refresh, now we have this grouped array here that's really hard to see and really hard to figure out. Okay, well this is, it's just hard to see like that. So I wrap everything in pre-tags, which is a pre-formatted text tags, and what that does is it expands out the array so that we can see, okay, we have the array, key 0 is a WordPress object, and here's that item. Okay, and then on and on and on and on. All right, so we're going to add some more things to our page here. So we're going to add a sample page, we're going to add a contact or an account, and we're going to add the privacy policy. And we're going to save this menu. Did we save it? We did save it. All right, so we're coming back over here, we're going to refresh, and so now we have more than one item in the array. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 items in there. Okay, so now what we can do is we can say for each on this array, and we can just create our own links. All right, so let's just comment this out. So now we can say for each, and we're going to say menu as menu key. Let's do MK for menu key and menu value. Those can be anything that you want them to be. Menu has to be the array of your menu here, but the menu key and the menu value can be anything you want. Now, to give you guys an idea of what that is, we can do echo MK.
I don't know how to set K2 to that.
We can say echo MK, and let's put a break after it just so you can see. And we're going to refresh. So see, now we're just getting the keys of each one of those menu items, right? So the MK doesn't really have much for us, but if we wanted to see what each one of those MVs are, again, each one of those is an array. So we're going to say MV. So if we go refresh, so now we have, it's not an array, it's an object of each one of these items. Okay. So now if we look at, let's comment this out. So now we know we need an href like this wrapped around each one of those menu items. So the first thing we're going to do is let's just do echo, and we're going to do a open and close link here. Href is equal to, and then that is our link. So for each one of these, we're going to have a link. And so we can just do link like that. And we come back over and refresh. Now we got link, 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 right? Okay. So as you can see, all these are grouped together. It's very, very close. And that is because we have in here on the theme or the export that we did, a class that says navigation link, WP nav link. So we need to copy this and put this in the class for each one of these links. So now if we come over here and we go refresh, now it looks closer to what we saw from the export of Webflow. Okay. So now we need to change this to the name of each link. And so if we look at the echoed out here, the array, so if we look down through here, we've got author, date, comment, title. But if you look down, we can find one that says title down here. This says post title, and this says title here. And this is what we want to use in our link. So here in between these brackets, we're going to do this, and we're going to do MV, whoops, and this is an object, so we're going to use an arrow, a pointer to title. Okay, so let's turn this off again. So now if we come over here and we refresh, now we have sample page, contact, about, and privacy policy. So now we need to get the URL that these pages actually link to. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to come back over here and we're going to turn this back on so that we can see that list of items that comes through, and we're going to refresh this page. And then if you look down right here, we have one that's called URL. So this URL tells us that this first link links to ideapro.io. And this is the the first link in the list. If we come down to the second one, which is the contact page, that one is going to link to the URL ideapro.io/contact. And then again, count down here, and then so on and so on. So what we need now is we need the URL. So we're going to grab the URL, and then in the href here, we're going to open two little brackets, two dots, and we're going to say MV, which is our object, and then the pointer goes to URL. Okay, and so let's comment this back out. We don't need that anymore. And so then we're going to refresh the page. And so now we have that full link that goes to each one of these items. So contact, now it takes us to the contact page. Account takes us to the account page. Privacy policy takes us to the default privacy policy that comes with the newer versions of WordPress. And then of course the sample page, which is the home page. Now this says sample page because that's what default comes with WordPress now. If we go over here to the appearance and the menu, we now have this sample page here, and we can change this. We can change this to home, right? And if we save the menu and we come back over here and we refresh the page, now it changes it to home. You can also do that by, you can also do that by changing the page name here. But if you want to leave that page name home or sample page or whatever you want to call it, I like to have something specific as the page name so that I can find that home page very, very easily. So you can leave it as sample page, or this is the home page, so that it makes it easier to search whenever you've got hundreds of pages. But in the menu, you can change it to whatever you want. You can say my home page, you can change that to whatever you want it to say. and save the menu and come back over here and refresh. And so now we have my home page. So that's how you add a menu to the theme from Webflow to the WordPress theme. And that's how you add a theme or a menu to any theme that you're building. Again, the first way that I showed you with the WP nav function, that is the correct way to actually do it, where it has the unordered list and the list items. And I can go into a more detailed video about adding a menu with all those different, the before the link and after the link, before the text, after the text, what we want to call the actual container class and all that stuff. I can go into a more detailed video about that, but this is to give you an idea that you can add, just using your own way of doing it here with pulling in just the arefs. So if we look at this now, in the inspector, we now have the nav role and aref, href throughout the thing, instead of having that unordered list and the list items from there. So that's how you add a menu to that theme. Hope you guys liked this video. If you did, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications of when I post new videos. Like this video or dislike it if you didn't like it, and I will see you guys in the next tutorial. Thanks.